New Latin America cinema was a regional film movement that started in the 1950s after World War II. The movement produced political cinema that strayed away from traditional commercialized films. These films broke the barriers, allowing for filmmakers to discuss social and political issues occurring in their nation. In addition, they also gave birth to three prominent film theories, which were Argentina's third cinema, present in 1960s, Brazil's cinema novo, present in 1950s, and Cuba's imperfect cinema, present in 1969.
Although these theories were unique, they were similar because they were influenced by Italian neorealism. In Michael Chano's documentary New Cinema of Latin America, Fernando Birri highlights the similarities between these film theories and Italian neorealism by addressing that neorealism was the cinema of the humble and the offended. Therefore, films that derived from these theories tied in on political strategy and were focused to capture the raw hardships of everyday people instead of providing entertainment to the audience.
Nevertheless, the most eminent theory was Imperfect Cinema in 1969. Imperfect Cinema illustrates the authenticity of everyday life by creating low-quality films. Thus, its purpose was for people to ask questions and search for answers. Its emphasis was to inform its audience and to strive for decolonization and change. An important figure that advocated and spoke on Imperfect Cinema was Julio García Espinosa, a famous Cuban filmmaker. He attended the Centro Sperimentale di Cinematografia in Rome, Italy, where other directors also attended, such as Fernando Birri. Here is where Garcia was influenced by neorealism, which gave him the spark to argue for imperfect cinema. The most fundamental aspect of imperfect cinema was that it asked for the audience's engagement in the revolution in order to make change. In 1969, Garcia publishes his essay For an Imperfect Cinema, and he states that for an imperfect cinema, lucid people are the ones who think and feel and exist in a world which they can change, in spite of all the problems and difficulties. They are convinced that they can transform it in a revolutionary way. As this theory connects to the ideal of revolution and make change, imperfect cinema can also be seen as an example of revolutionary cinema. Therefore, cinema was important to Cuba after Batista's coup d'etat in 1959.
After Batista is overthrown by Fidel Castro in 1959, a new revolutionary government is established. Due to the nation's identity being at risk, Castro's establishment of the Instituto Cubano de Arte Industria Cinematográficos was important for culture productivity and for bettering Cuba's national identity. According to Ana Lopez Escobar, she states that defined as the most powerful and suggestive medium of artistic expression and the most direct and extensive vehicle for education and the popularization of ideas, the cinema was called upon to participate actively in the ideological realm of the revolutionary process. Cinema was a way of continuing the revolution and to establish what Lopez calls a socialist utopia. Although the focus was to make Cuba prosper, new problems emerged. The island would endure the Bay of Pigs in April 19, 1961. Then, due to its alliance with the Soviet Union, Cuba would undergo a standoff with the United States in the Cuban Missile Crisis in October 1962. Then in Cuba's cinematic history, Memorias del Subdesarrollo by Tomás Gutiérrez Alea was created in 1968, which was 9 years after the revolution. The movie focuses on the main character Sergio, who belongs to Cuba's middle class. As Sergio constantly critiques underdevelopment and colonization, his love affair with 16-year-old Elena symbolizes the turmoil and the frantic state that the island is in due to underdevelopment. Nevertheless, the ending of the movie has an everlasting effect on the audience as it raises the question of how will underdevelopment be fixed. The prominent way imperfect cinema is embedded into the film is by its aesthetics. Such as Julio García Espinosa said, imperfect cinema is no longer interested in quality or technique. Thus, Memorias del Subdesarrollo is in black and white, and it also grabs the audience's attention in multiple provocative scenes by zooming into Sergio's faces in one of the particular scenes. These are thought-provoking scenes that are intended for the audience to think about the overall message, which is underdevelopment, and to have them come up with an answer, which is how can underdevelopment be solved. Lastly, the movie is a prime example of imperfect cinema and how it can be an example of revolutionary cinema, because this film was created in attempts to keep the revolution alive and how there is a need for change in society.